All right. I think you guys can hear me, right? Just let me know in the chat real quick that you guys sounding all good. I had to really rush to get this all set up today. I was a little bit behind, I'm not going to lie, but we made it, guys, and I am so stoked to be here. You know what? I just realized I was so behind. I didn't even put a watch on tonight or my ring. I'm slacking, but guys, happy Friday. Welcome back to another Dividend Happy Hour. I hope you all had a fantastic week. And I am so stoked to be here with you guys tonight for what's going to be undoubtedly another fun live stream. So I guess before we get into anything, before I ramble on, why don't we kick this thing off the best way we know how? Grab whatever it is you're sipping on tonight, guys. Crack that thing open. There we go. There we go. Nice Fresca. I couldn't resist. But anyway, guys, grab whatever it is you're sipping on. Here's to you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight to another Dividend Happy Hour. Thanks for hanging out with me. And also here's to the dividends. Here's to the pursuit of that sweet cash flow, because that's really what we're all here for, right? But anyway, cheers. All right. Now with that, my friends, let me know a few things here in the live chat. Number one, which stocks did you buy this week? I'd be curious to know what you added to your portfolio. So let me know that here in the chat. Number two, I want to know, what are you drinking tonight? What did you bring to drink to the Dividend Happy Hour? As you guys saw, I'm rocking with a Fresca tonight. Good old classic Fresca, one of my favorites. Number three, I want to know, did anything cool happen in your guys' portfolio this week? I don't think we're going to see too many all-time highs. I'd be surprised if we did, but I think personally speaking, at least, I saw a little bit of a pullback this week. But yeah, let me know if anything cool happened to you guys this week. I want to hear about any milestones on your guys' end. And also number four, this is the second week we're doing this officially. We're adding a fourth question into the mix. Let me know if there are any first timers here to the Dividend Happy Hour. Let me know if this is your first time tuning into the live stream. And in case it is, first of all, welcome. Stoked to have you here. And second of all, just so you know, we do this live stream every Friday night starting at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Except, guys, I won't be here next week. I'm going to let you know now. There will be no Dividend Happy Hour next week. At least it will not be next Friday. Maybe I'll do it like Saturday or Sunday, but I'm going to go to Disneyland next week. I know. I'm going to go to Disneyland. I'll be gone Monday through Friday. So I will not be around to stream, but maybe we'll do one next weekend. Maybe we'll do it Saturday or Sunday. I just kind of got to play it by ear. But anyway, let me know those handful of things here in the chat. Let me scroll up and see who we got in the building tonight. So let me scroll all the way up to the top. Take another sip of Fresca. Delicious. So good. Okay. So 5 o'clock on the dot. I see Anthony here. I see Sir Dudebro, man. Congrats on the new house. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. I see Dorte. I see Chris, Cameron from Wisconsin. Anyone else from Wisconsin? Shout out Wisconsin. We got Shamir from Canada. Shamir, man, I was this close to grabbing a Coke Zero. And I was thinking of you as I was about to do it, but Fresca it was calling my name. Let's see. Pat's here. Fast Eddie's here. Adon B. Hall from Michigan, drinking an unfermented grape juice. Nice. Yeah, wine sounds good. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. I hadn't had wine for a long time. But last week, or over the weekend, this last weekend, my wife and I cracked open a bottle and had some, and it was good. I miss drinking wine. Let's see. We got Heather, Soul, Jim, Run DMS. What's going on? Thomas is here. What's up, Thomas? Let's see. Shannon's here. What's up, Shannon? I think I already said what's up to Fast Eddie, but in case I didn't, what's going on, my friend? Fur is here. I hope I pronounced that right. Yeah. Fernando, right? William's here. The Lean Mean Dean Machine in the building. What's up, Dean? Andrew's here. Paolo. Tommy. What is happening? We got Chuck. Bought a little realty income. Nice. Good pickup. Let's see. Shamir sipping on a Coke Zero, as he always does. There you go. Bought a little S&P 500. Classic. This is cool. Adon, really, really big milestone. I bought my 1,000th, goodness gracious, 1,000th share of SCHD today. Thank you and everyone in this community for the encouragement. Dude, congratulations. 1,000 shares. Man. So, okay, let's do some math real quick here. How much is SCHD paying out per share? So, it's like 75 cents a quarter, something like that. Yeah. So 75 cents a quarter, about 293 times 1,000. So that's $2,900, $2,930 coming in every single year just from that SCHD dividend. Good job. So let's see. So that's over 900. That's close to 950. No, 920 ish, 920 to 930 per quarter, somewhere in there. No, I'm tripping. Yeah, I'm definitely off. 816, 714. It's 700. It's like almost 750-ish a quarter, right? Somewhere in there. Just doing it off the top of my head. I'm somewhere in that range. We're in the right department, I think. But that's cool. Great job. Unreal. Yeah, a lot of SCHD pickups. Cameron, SCHD, SCHD, SCHD. There you go. We also got another Cameron with some Ally, Google, and TLT. There you go. Yep, Ahovi got some SCHD. Shannon, no pickups, but sipping a Diet Coke. Good stuff. Oh, there you go. Striper Kid with some tequila mixed with some sparkling mango flavored water. That sounds good. Man, I haven't had I haven't had tequila for a little while. I've been good. I've been trying to be good with the elk. I mean, I had some wine last week, but prior to that was doing pretty good. I actually started running again earlier this week. Yesterday was my first day back hitting the pavement right by my new place. My new house here, there's like a walking trail. So I just decided to hit the trail. I've been walking it typically every morning. But yeah, I've been getting the itch to just get back into running, pick up the cardio a little bit. So started that yesterday. That felt really good. I really wanted to run again today, but I hit legs at the gym and I don't want to do too much too fast because I just don't want to. I feel like I need to get acclimated before I, pick up the pace. So I'm thinking maybe every other day or every couple of days I'll run until I can like build up the I guess tolerance for it, I guess. Felt good though. Anyway, Pat picked up some Hess and Chevron. There you go. B Hall getting out of FedEx tomorrow. You mean getting out of FedEx Monday? I cut it too close. Okay. Let's see. Manuel started a position in Realty Income. Couple of shares. Nice. Good job. Oh, there we go. Sol says portfolio is at an all-time high because of Baba and JD. What is JD? JD. I don't know that I've heard of this. So JD.com. They're a dividend payer. What is this company? It's a retail. Okay. Okay, it's a Chinese retail company. Gosh, guys, that Fresca is so good. Wow, look at this performance. Wow. That's crazy. I'm guessing this was because of the stimulus thing that's going on in China, right? This is a bold move. Sarah Venon sold out of all of their stocks and is keeping it in cash. That is a bold move, my friend. Well, I hope it works out for you. You must be predicting some sort of correction or some sort of serious downturn ahead to make a move like that. So let's see what happens. There we go. Croissant man. This is awesome, guys. What's cool that happened was I started my dividend journey this week. Congratulations. That is so cool to hear. I love that. And Croissant man, I'd be curious to hear, and also this applies to anyone if you guys are kind of at the start of your investing journeys, what prompted you to start investing? Or really anyone. Let's open it up to any of you guys. What was it that got you into investing? What made you want to start doing this? Do you remember if there was any, one particular event that made you jump into investing? What was it that told you I need to start doing this? Let me know in the chat. I always love to hear the investing origin stories. That's one of my favorite things. Okay, let's keep going though. Let's see. I see Yam Man picked up some Hormel and SCHY. Nice. Chris with VU, SCHD, Realty Income. Pretty much all the usual suspects for Chris here. Nice. Heather, second time, drinking a Canada Dry Fruit Splash. So that's, rum with Canada Dry Fruit Splash. So that sounds pretty good. Like a tropical ginger ale cocktail, right? That sounds really good, actually. Okay, my man Fur here says just ice water. Nice, man. Got to stay hydrated. Bought EPD and Realty Income, nothing too crazy. Do you recommend me to buy SHD before the split, even if my average cost is lower than the current share price? So, yeah. So here's the thing with SHD in general. That's one I really pay no attention to when it comes to price, because I dollar cost average into it every week, and I think that's really the best MO when it comes to ETFs. Just don't even think about it. Just dollar cost average, whether it's SCHD or VU or DGRO or VIG, VTI, VT, a combination of any of those or whatever. I think ETFs are best just set it and forget it, you know? So yeah, I don't think it matters either way, whether you buy SHD before the split or after the split. And that's another thing too, is when it comes to stock splits, at the end of the day, it really doesn't make too much of a difference for your portfolio. Really, the only difference pre-split and post-split is that the share price is reduced by, however much. In the case of SHD, it'll be cut into 1/3. And similarly, the dividend payment per share will be split to the same degree. And that's really the only difference. But it all evens out because it's the same amount of dollars invested. And, post split, you're going to have 3 times as many shares. So it really, at the end of the day, it all works out to be the same, both before the split and after the split. Hopefully that makes sense. That's a really good question. And actually, that was one that's a question that I've been getting a lot lately with this SHD news. Should I buy before the split or should I buy after the split? And just for anyone who's been, thinking about that, just know it, it doesn't really make a difference either way. It'll all even out. So, and I skipped over this. Cameron, this is another cool milestone, man. Good job. I'm almost at 350 shares of SHD. So looking forward to that 1,000 share milestone. Yeah, that's great, man. That's great. I think I'm at 94 right now. Next week will be probably 95 to 96. So, well, actually, no, next week. Yeah, I mean, Monday, I do the buys on Monday. So we'll do that. And then we get the split. So 4th, 5th, 6th, Monday's the 7th, 8, 9, 10. So Friday, I think, right? On Friday morning, we'll wake up and we'll have the adjustment, the split take place. So exciting stuff. This is really cool too. Pat, this is a great milestone. Broke $1,000 per month on average in dividends, drinking a Coke Zero. Nice. Yeah, only bought 1 share of J&J when it went under 160. Yeah, interesting week for a few stocks. J&J under 160. Altria under 50 again. So interesting stuff. Let's see. Jim with a little Deere in Lockheed Martin. Gilly with some Pepsi and Merck. There we go. Nice. Ted with a little QYLD, RYLD, and CLM. Good stuff. Jim, nice little shopping spree here. Exxon. I can never remember how to pronounce that next company. Is it Oanoke? Right? It's something along those lines. I know Russ. I know OneOak. Oneoke. I don't know what it is, but I know I remember Russ kind of struggles with this one too. This is a funny name. So anyway, Jim picked up those two with some Vici, Omega Healthcare Properties, Iron Mountain, and Nike. That's what OHI is, right? Omega Healthcare Investors, not properties. Omega Healthcare Investors. Okay. There we go. Phil. SCHD, VU, and QQQM, drinking a Coke Zero. Lots of dividends. Nice. So cool milestone there. And this is Phil's 3rd time tuning in. Very cool. And Phil, I hope you enjoy the spreadsheet, my friend. Thanks for downloading it and checking it out. Okay, Dave with some Visa, Vici, and then United Health. Nice. Steve, I didn't know Fresca was still available. Yeah, and Fresca is actually made by Coca-Cola, which is cool. I'm just confirming that. Yeah, it's made by Coca-Cola. Oh, each sip, it just keeps getting better and better. Man. There we go. Andrew says, I have great news. Snowball Analytics works for New Zealand. New Zealand. Every time I think of New Zealand, I think of Flight of the Conchords. You guys remember that show? Murray Hewitt with the New Zealand consulate. We got Britt and Murray. Let's see. Let's keep going. I see Matthew. What's up, Matthew? Anyway, where am I? I'm about 10 minutes behind in the chat. Okay. Mr. Ortiz, how about that TPL? What is TPL? I might have to jump over to... Oh, that's right. We were talking about this last week. Yeah, let's go check it out. So TPL is Texas Land Pacific Corporation. There we go. Ticker symbol TPL here. And as we can see, it's had a really nice run up in share price. And just a little bit about this company. If we go over here. So this is a very interesting company. It's extremely profitable. Basically, all of their revenue comes from royalties from, they own a ton of land out in Texas, and they make their money from like royalties from oil and gas companies who I think drill on their land, right? So yeah, here's what it is. So they manage approximately 880,000 acres of land. They also own a small interest in oil and gas royalty under about 85,000 acres of land. Some other royalties here and some other royalties in the western part of Texas. So in a nutshell, they just generate revenue from letting people drill on the land. They get a royalty from that, which is pretty much just straight profit. As we'll see here in just a moment. Let me scroll down. Well, I don't know if it will. Yeah, it will show us. So yeah, first of all, before we get to the profitability, check out the growth here. So really crazy growth, really crazy revenue growth, earnings growth, and free cash flow growth. I mean, just look at these CAGRs. It's very impressive. You know, the margins are incredibly impressive as well. The gross margins are above 90%. Net income margins, the bottom line, 65%-ish. And then free cash flow margin is right around a similar mark. So crazy, no debt, you know, obviously no debt here. So that's great. Dividend growth has been, I mean, I'm guessing these are special dividends right here that they paid out, but minus the special dividends, you know, the growth trajectory has been pretty good. I don't know the exact CAGR. These special dividends are kind of throwing it off here. But overall, really good looking company. Look at these returns as well. Crazy returns on invested capital. Crazy high returns on assets as well. You know. So yeah, this is a very interesting company. On the surface, it looks really good. And I was actually heavily considering this company a while ago. Just because you look at that and it's like, it's almost too good to be true. But what I came to find out, and I'll see if I can pull it up, is that this company, I believe, is going through some long-standing litigation. Let me look. Yeah, I mean, you can Google it, and I don't remember the specifics off the top of my head, but if you just Google Texas Land Pacific Corporation lawsuit, it's going to come up with all of this stuff here. And I don't remember exactly what it is. There's a lawsuit against their shareholders, I guess. Huh. Something here, something there. And if you guys have any more, I mean, here's a Seeking Alpha article on it as well from last year, but I think all of this is still going on. I mean, maybe not. Maybe not. It's been a while since I've looked at it, but maybe not since it's jumped up in share price so much. Maybe that's partly why. I don't know. I haven't looked at this company for a while. I mean, I guess since we're here, we can see if there's been any news. Not really. So I don't know. This company's always been interesting to me, and I mean, in hindsight, I wish I would have pulled the trigger on it when I was looking at it, because probably could have, close to doubled my money at this point. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know if you guys know anything about the lawsuit stuff. I mean, if that's past them, then this, I mean, looks like almost a no-brainer to want to own. The PE ratio is pretty high though. In the trailing 12 months, it's 48. But then again, it's been a pretty growthy company. So there is that. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, let me know. Let me know if you guys have any more insight on that company. If any of you guys have checked it out. Let's see. I see G. What's up, G? Oh, and real quick, guys, going back to Snapstock, I forgot to mention. I mean, if you are on the email list, you'll know this already, but Snapstock is officially coming out this weekend. Okay, it's going to be going live on Sunday, October 6th. Yeah, and on Sunday, October 6th, you'll officially be able to sign up and become a member of the investment club and actually start using Snapstock for yourself. So if you guys want to check it out, just go to hit up my website, retirewithryne.com here. If you go to this button, join, okay, you can join the wait list or just wait till Sunday at 7 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, 10 a.m. Eastern time. You can scroll down here, and where it says join the wait list, this will be replaced with a section that will allow you to actually sign up to the investment club. You'll get access to Snapstock. You'll also get a templated copy of the Investor's Almanac, as well as access to my own almanac, which includes all of my stock research, all of my book notes, and other just investment writing that I do. Like, for example, I've been going through the Berkshire Hathaway annual shareholder letters, taking notes on that. And so I have everything up until 1989. Going to finish those off. Then I'm going to go through the Howard Marks memos, Nick Sleep's letters. So all that stuff I'm also writing about, and it's all going to be in the almanac. And I'll be, constantly expanding this over time. And speaking of book notes, guys, I just started this book yesterday. I was hoping to hold off. I really wanted to hold off on starting another book, because once I launched this investment club and got that behind me, I really wanted to. I've been really bad about doing stock research, and I want to get back to it. And I mean like serious stock research, following my process in the almanac and taking notes and all that stuff. I have not been good about it, just because there's been other stuff going on, and it's easier for me to just read a chapter a night. Or it has been. So, but anyway, I couldn't resist. I started this book. So far, so good. I'm only on chapter 3, but it's a pretty easy book to read. It's only about 160 pages, but I really like it so far. So I'd recommend it. Anyway, let's keep going. Steve says, Fresca and a shot of vodka can get it dicey. Yep. There we go. Darusus, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but this is a cool milestone. Received my first quarterly dividends. Nice, my friend. Good job. Okay, so now I'm at the part of the chat where you guys are talking about what got you into investing. So I see a few of you guys saying the pandemic. Like Jay says the pandemic. Anthony says, I wanted to have my own investments on top of KiwiSaver. Gillies with the pandemic here. Tommy says, I didn't know what to spend my money on. Steve looking for passive income. Phil, this is an interesting one. Phil says, my friend lost his job. He had 5 kids. So I started investing. I get that. Yeah. First says, a friend of mine talked about how he gained around $700 from capital gains and sold. We opened a Robinhood and invested our first $5 together. He stopped, but I continued. Nice. That's a bummer that your friend stopped, but man, good on you for just keeping it going. Oh, Cam, this is cool. I've always had a dream to travel abroad. Had a flight booked to Colombia for September 3rd of this year, so last month, but had to cancel due to lack of cash flow. Decided to pursue dividends for freedom to do so in the future. Nice. Okay. Coyote says, oh, real quick, sorry, before I get to that, Coyote, my bad. B Hall says, okay, there was an FedEx put, so the shares will show up in your account. Okay, got it. So you got assigned those, so that makes sense. But anyway, Coyote says, my investing journey began after my old boss laughed when I asked her for a 401k match in a Roth IRA. Still fuels my fire today. Dang. Your old boss laughed. That's crazy. Well, man, good on you for, taking matters into your own hands. That's great. Croissant, man, this is a great motivator right here. I started because I have a daughter now and I felt like I had to grow up. Yeah, that's awesome. I don't have any kids, but I can imagine how that would change your perspective on a lot of things. Things gets pretty real, I'm sure, So good for you. This is interesting. Saul says, I got into investing because I was watching a chess streamer talk about the stock market crash in 2020, and he told me it was a good time to buy anything for the long term. Nice. Cool. Ooh, run DMS. My great grandpa was high up in Dow, which I believe is Dow Chemicals, right? I think they were Dividend or Dow Inc. Excuse me. What was I? Yeah, okay. They're a chemicals company, yeah. And I think they're a Dividend King. No, maybe not. I thought they were. I am not following them, so let me add them to the watch list. Yeah, I thought they were a Dividend King for some reason. Maybe not. He gave me 30 shares and they have been on drip for 35 years. Wow. So just out of curiosity, you've been dripping those for 35 years. How many shares, if you are okay sharing, how many shares do you have now just after dripping for that long? That's crazy. That's really cool. Oh my gosh, this is quite the name. So I was first putting money in and out and then lost some. Then I saw later the stocks were just increasing over the long term and then just promised myself to invest slowly instead of keeping money in the bank. Nice. Sir Dudebro, man, I love that. The investment origin story. I'll tell you guys mine too once I get through these. I've told it before, but I'm sure some of you guys haven't heard it. Sir Dudebro, man says, I started because I wanted to start planning for retirement. And I wanted to see if I could do better than my dad when it came to investing. Nice. Dorte says, I started investing a year after I learned about the FIRE movement. I needed the year to learn about it. It was actually a TV documentary that opened my eyes for the possibility of retiring early. Cool. Yeah, I think I know which documentary you're talking about, and there's a book version of it. I read the book version of it. Playing with Fire, is that the one? But anyway, yeah, I read the book version of that. Truth be told, didn't really like the book, but I bet the documentary would be more interesting. There you go. Sarah Vanan says, I'm investing because of Professor G. Nice. Good stuff. I get this one. Arjani says, the moment I woke up from a nap and saw those first dividends paid out, I was hooked. Yeah, there you go. Oh, why do you buy on Monday? Any reason? That's just in the Roth IRA. So the Roth IRA, it automatically is set up to buy every single Monday. There's no particular reason for it. It's just, I don't know, start of the week. But in my taxable account, it varies. Sometimes I'll do it Monday, sometimes Tuesday, Wednesday, sometimes, I don't know. It just varies on the day. But there's no rhyme or reason to that, really. Sometimes I just forget about it, to be honest, or I'll look at things and I'm like, yeah, I think I'll wait till tomorrow. One Oak. Okay. Good stuff. I see my man Russ. What's up, Russ? Adam, more Nike this week. I think they have a strategy problem and not a brand problem. Also going to buy Rick because I want to be a sleazy strip joint owner for Halloween. That's so funny. Nice, man. That is hilarious. All right. Manuel, my journey began after getting to understand the market a little better, thanks to me and the professor. Nice. That's cool. Well, thank you for And this applies to all you guys. Thank you so much for checking out all of my videos. And, I do hope they're helpful. They're a lot of fun for me to make. And it's a true joy to be able to turn people on to investing. A lot of people think it's just like, a lot of people think it's just boring. But a lot of people think investing is just boring. They don't really understand it. But man, I just think it's such an exciting thing. And this book right here, Investing: The Last Liberal Art. I mean, it says it right there in the title. I think that's one of the coolest things about investing. It consists of so many different disciplines put all together into one. And you can take all these different things from all these different, areas of, I don't know, like math or science or all these different subjects, and you can apply them to investing. There's just so much to it. It's such an interesting thing. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Let's see. Let's keep going though. What's up, Puck Man? Getting 3K from Altria this month. Good job. That's crazy. Skylar says, I made $40 in dividends in September. Good job, Skylar. That's awesome. Let's see. Let's see here. Drink. Yeah, book talk. There you go. Okay, so I'm a few minutes. I'm about 10 minutes. No, I'm like 5 minutes behind in the chat now. Yeah. Yes, Puck Man. I agree with this 100%. When I retire, to live off the golden eggs and not kill the goose that lays them. Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to be in a video on Professor G's channel next week, talking about not all of the reasons, but the main reasons why I choose to, only buy dividend paying stocks. And that right there is a big reason. I've never, and it works for people, right? Like you can invest in non-dividend paying stocks and, you can receive capital appreciation and it's all, total returns. I get it. But that's the thing that that's never really sat that well with me. I've always really disliked the idea of having to sell off your position for the non-dividend payers. I've never liked the fact that you have to sell them off and able to benefit from them. But like I said, it works for people. That's just the act of doing that. Exactly how Puckman described it here. It's just never been something. I don't know. It's just not something I'm interested in. I'd rather just be able to hold on to those shares, and not dwindle down my assets after I just spent decade after decade after decade building them up. That just leaves a bad taste in my mouth personally. But anyway, I'll tell you guys, I meant to do this. So let me quickly tell you guys a little bit about, my investing origin story. But after I get to these two right here. So, Cheaton here says, started investing in 2017 at 29 years old, nearing 100K in my Robinhood and 200K in the 401K. Good job. But Bubble Chaser here says, my old boss divorced me after saying, I'll leave you with less than you had. I've been investing ever since, and she filed bankruptcy. Wow. Wowee. Okay, so, some more. Let me get through these guys. I want to get through you guys' origin stories before I get to mine. Shannon, this is a good one too. My mom was a nurse for 40 years. She only had Social Security. I said, this isn't the way. So I started. Yeah. Oh, man. It's true. Like you really, you need to do more. You need to do more than just Social Security these days. I think back in the day, I don't know. I'm only 31, so I don't know. But, back in the day, it was easier to get by probably just on Social Security and, pensions and whatever. But nowadays, you really do have to take matters into your own hands, I believe. Yeah, Derek says, I started during 2021. Many people wish they started early, and I use their advice. Absolutely. That is one of the things you will hear every investor say, especially, every investor, not just dividend investors, but every investor will say, I wish I would have started early. Like there's even people here in the community, who started investing, which is awesome, by the way, who started investing at like 16, 15 years old. And even they say that. Even they say, I wish I would have started at 12. Yeah, time. Like time is such an important component to all of this for sure. Okay. Let's see. Wow, Steve, this is awesome. This is crazy. I went from being homeless to getting help from the VA to getting rated, then it did not go to Vegas, right? Right? Am I reading that right? And I started investing. I've been watching since. Nice, Steve. Well, man, that's very inspiring. Thank you. Um, I don't know what the rating is. Russ seems to know. It must be a military thing. Help from the VA to getting rated, then did not go to Vegas and started investing. Russ says monthly tax-free payments for life. Well, that sounds good. Okay, so I'm all caught up in the chat. So here's kind of my investing origin story. Oh, disability rating. Okay. So I started right before the pandemic. And I'll try not to ramble on too much with this story. I mean, I can't make any promises. You guys know how that goes, but um yeah, so I started seriously investing probably just a few months before the pandemic. Maybe it was like late 2019, maybe even, you know, early 2020. And I'd been kind of, trickling into it before then. I've told this before, but when I was younger, my parents made like custodian accounts, which are basically investment accounts for kids. When I was like in my young teens and my siblings were younger and whatnot. And so we all got these custodian accounts. And from that point on, every birthday, every Christmas, what we got was money for our Charles Schwab account, which as a kid, obviously, it's not something you get super excited about. And it was kind of the running joke in the family for a long time. Every time we'd get like the Charles Schwab money, I don't even know what this is. I don't know who this Chuck guy is and why he's getting my Christmas present. But anyway, my dad would always say, you'll be, when we would give him a hard time, you'll thank us someday. You'll be happy that you have this. And it didn't really hit me until I was probably 25, 26. No, it would have been, yeah, it would have been like 26, right? Yeah. 26, like I said, a few months going into the pandemic. And I was working at the job that I had prior to, I do this YouTube stuff full time now, thank goodness. But prior to this, the job that I had, I was miserable doing it. Really didn't like it. And it was a nightmare. Uh-oh, there he is. You guys know what that means. Cheers, my friends. My goodness. What is it? What do they do to this thing to make it better with every single sip? I don't know, but I love it. So anyway, I was miserable with the job I was working. And it wasn't a bad job either. It was like digital marketing, it was very up my alley, a lot of photography, videography stuff, social media stuff, which was cool because it transferred to, what I was doing when I started YouTube and the skills that I learned from doing this YouTube stuff. I was able to apply to that, and that was really exciting. But it was just the job itself. It was just not a good fit. And long story short, I was miserable, and it made me think like I need to do something to like get out of this job. Like I don't know what I'm going to do if I have to stay here like another 20 years working this job. And I know I could have looked for other jobs. I totally know that. It's my choice to stay doing it. But I thought, in the meantime, if worst case scenario, I had to do this for the next 20 years or so, well, I don't know. I need maybe investing could like it could be my way out. I think I'd seen that quote, that Warren Buffett quote that says, if you don't find a way to make money in your sleep, you're going to work until you die. And not liking what I was doing for work, I was like, man, there's no way I'm going to be doing this until I died. Absolutely not. So I need to start investing. And that was the impetus to start at least looking into this stuff and start researching it for myself. And that's when I turned to YouTube and I started watching, watching people, just everything. Like I just soaked up everything I could find. I started, was probably first shown the Graham Steffens, and Andre Jick was one of the early ones, financial education, all the big guys, the Meet Kevin. Um, and then from there, you trickle into other things and you stumble upon other things. Like that's when I started watching Russ. That's when I started watching PPC Ian, JJ Buckner, the Dream Green Show. There was a guy back then called Bruce Wang. I don't know if you guys remember Bruce Wang. I don't know what happened to him. He like fell off the face of the earth, but I loved his channel. But anyway, I started getting more into the dividend investing side of things. And the more that Gen X dividend investor, I mean, Darth Dividend, the diplomats, I could keep going on and on about all the great channels. But anyway, watching all of those guys really put me onto this path. Like the more that I would watch that, the more that this style of investing really resonated with me. And like I was saying, for me, a complete beginner, it just the concept of buying the stocks, holding on to them, and then collecting that paycheck it couldn't be more straightforward to me. That's exactly what I was looking for. And it made sense to me too. Like, okay, if being able to leave this job, if for me to leave this job, I need to replace the income from this job with something else, then this dividend income could be that source. You know what I'm saying? And so that really clicked to me. I understood like all I need to do is just make enough dividend income more than this job's paying me, then I'm good to go. You know what I'm saying? So it was very straightforward in that way. Um, but also some of the other things like we've talked about, I loved the fact that I didn't have to sell the shares. I love the snowball effect. When I get the dividend and reinvest it, the next time I'll get an even bigger dividend, and that's just a vicious cycle. There was just so many things that really attracted me to this style of investing. I also really appreciated the fact that a lot of the dividend paying companies were ones that I was already very familiar with: Coca-Cola, Procter and Gamble, Starbucks, Pepsi, McDonald's, all of the world's biggest companies. So it's like, for me coming into this with no experience, this is probably the direction I should go down. And it's one of those things. It's become one of those things where, like, the longer that I've done it, the better it gets. I've said this before, but dividend investing is the gift that keeps on giving. Investing in general is like that too, but certainly dividend investing, it really is. The longer you do it, the better it gets. And going back to what I was saying a moment ago or a few moments ago, that's why time is just such an important component to all of this. And I wish, instead of starting at 26, I would have taken it more seriously when I was like in my teens, when I was first getting this custodian account. I just wish the light bulb had gone off then, because I'd been working ever since I could drive, ever since I turned 16. I always had a job. And I loved having money coming in. It just felt good to, have some income and be able to build up my savings. And I wish I would have put that to better use. But such is life. The important thing is you started, you know what I'm saying? Even though you didn't maybe start at the time you wanted to, in hindsight, at least you got started. But in a nutshell, guys, that's my investing origin story. And then having a background, as far as YouTube goes, having a background in social media and photography and videography, I'd watch all these videos and I would be able to piece together, like, okay, this is how they're shooting it. Seems I can get a sense for how they're editing this video and putting it together. And, it doesn't seem like they're doing anything too crazy. These are just normal guys like me. They're just talking about what they're investing in, what they're buying. They're doing portfolio updates. I can do that. And so that's kind of what led me to start doing the channel. And, the rest is kind of history. But yeah, it's been a wild ride for sure. So anyway, let's see. Sorry, guys. I did not mean to. I guess it wasn't too bad of a tangent. So, yeah, and thank you guys for the kind words I'm seeing here in the chat. There you go. Fat Mike from NoFX has never had a job, and now after 40 years is retiring. Go your own way. Yep. Rui says, is Procter & Gamble an opportunity now? I mean, it's not. It's probably not a great opportunity, but Is it going to kill you to buy Procter and Gamble at today's prices? Not necessarily. But no, I don't think it's a super deeply discounted stock by any means right now. Yeah, Dimitri said, had a similar realization when I saw my parents struggling for money. Started researching personal finances and invested my money with my first internship job. Nice. There you go. SLV Coin says, Mr. Ryne, it's called work. Yeah, but this YouTube channel's work. Big time. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. I love what I do. And I think that's the goal. I think I've always thought that if you're going to be spending that much time doing something, you should at least try and enjoy it. And I just wasn't enjoying it. I needed a way out. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Pat said, I have a 7 and 9-year-old. Being a parent changes your life. I'm in the process of setting them up a custodial account. Thanks, Ryne, for the inspiration. Yeah, well, I mean, Pat, like I said, in hindsight, I think it was one of the best things, like absolute best things for me. I didn't understand it then. And your kids at 7 and 9, they're not going to get it too, probably for a long time. But at least when they do come around, hopefully eventually, they'll have that there for them, and it will be huge. So, Steve, thank you for the $2 super chat. I appreciate that. Will the investment club help understand taxes? There's not really anything specific to taxes in the investment club. It's pretty much just my stock research, book notes, other investment stuff. You get access to the Investor's Almanac. You get access to Snap Stock. But if you're looking for some help understanding taxes, I did put out a video over on the channel. If you go to my channel, it's just it's like one of the first videos. Let me see. Excuse me. Or if you just, in the YouTube search, if you just type Ryne Williams taxes, the video will pop up. No, I thought I had it on my main page. Let me see. Or if you just type dividend taxes, it should pop up too. But Steve, yeah. So we're over on YouTube. I just typed in my name and then taxes. And you can see here, it's the first video that pops up. So I did a whole video a while back, just going into how dividends are taxed and all of that stuff. So, and the only thing that should have changed in this video from then until now is the contribution limits for the Roth IRA. I think at this time, the contribution limits were 6,500 or 6,000, and now they're higher. Are they 6,500 now, or are they 7,000? I don't remember which one it is. I think it's 6,500 until you're 50 something years old, and then you get an extra 500 or something like that. Times, no, 130 times. Yeah, I think it's 7,000, right? And then 7,500 if you're 50 something years old. Yeah, Striper Kid, not to get too personal, but is YouTube your main job? It is. This is what I do full time now. In fact, officially, guys, I've been doing this full time for the last 2 years. As soon as I moved to Vegas, when I moved to Vegas, I just didn't bring the job with me. The job was pretty much work from home, but yeah, I did not bring the job with me. So as soon as I moved here to Vegas, just jumped right into YouTube full time. And I think at that point, I maybe had 10,000 subscribers or so, maybe just over that. And, we moved here end of September 2022. And I told myself, I was like, you know what? Like, let me just give it a shot here. Like I have October, November, December. I'm going to give myself 3 months to do this full time and just see what happens. If I'm building momentum, if things are heading in the right direction, then I'll keep it going. And I was making enough to at least pay my bills. At that point, it was tight, but we were getting by. And so I told myself, yeah, those 3 months, if it seems like there's momentum here, I'll keep it going until I can't do it. And 2 years later, here we are. And it could everything could end tomorrow for all I know. I hope, knock on wood. But that's kind of my whole thing with this YouTube stuff. I do it full time and I love it. And I'm just trying to see how long I can keep it going because I absolutely love it. I want to do this forever, really. So, there we go. This is a good question too, or a good statement, I should say. I only have 56 days left to work until I put down the hammer and retire. I'm in my mid 50s, and my advice to all of you is plan to retire at 55. Screw that 62, 67, 70 retirement ages. Yeah, I agree. The sooner the better. And it's not to say like Striper Kid, I don't know what your plan is, but when it comes to retirement, and we talk about this quite a bit. We've talked about it before on the channel, but that doesn't mean retire and just sit around and watch TV and don't do anything. It's like, fill your time with the things you've been wanting to do. Maybe it's getting in shape or having a garden or starting a YouTube channel or, being more active in your portfolio. It's to retire and just do the things that you want to do. It's not just to sit around and wither away. It's to probably actually become more useful. So yeah, I think that's what retirement's all about. So, and with that said, like the sooner the better. The sooner you can get to that point, the better. Yeah, Fast Eddie, being married now, have you discussed with your wife your investing strategies as well as what to do if something happens? I don't mean to jinx you. No, I mean, it's knock on wood again. No, I appreciate the question. That's a good question. Yeah, she's in tune enough to know. I still need to make her like a beneficiary of the portfolio, but that's on my to-do list of this weekend actually. But she'll know what to do. Yeah, I mean, she's heard me talk about SCHD and VU enough to know what to do. So sometimes her mother-in-law or her mother-in-law, my mother-in-law, her mom, who pops into the stream sometimes. I don't think she's watching tonight, but sometimes she's here. Sometimes she'll ask my wife about like her investments and stuff because she likes to dabble a little bit on Robinhood and she's had a little fun with it. And sometimes she'll have some extra money and want to know what to do with it. And I don't even have to say anything to my wife. My wife will just tell her, Mom, just put it in VU. Just put it in the S&P 500, VOO. That's all you need to do. And so worst case scenario, like if something were to happen, my wife at least knows that. And I think if that's all she knows, I think she'll be just fine. So yeah, and she's also heard me talk about SCHD enough as well. So okay, let's see. We got about 5 minutes left in the stream. 7,000 for the Roth IRA. That's right. 8,000 if you're. Is it 55 or over 50? Okay, it's over 50. Got it. I see a lot of tickers being thrown over here right now. So, this is we'll look at this one. So Gordy says, "What do you think about the ticker RTH?" Let's check it out. RTH is the VanEck Retail ETF. I mean, nice companies, some nice companies here. My initial impression is that the expense ratio is high for what it is. This is super basic. It's not like they're doing anything crazy. It's with these companies here. And for what you're getting, I mean, I think the expense ratio is just kind of high. I mean, this isn't going to kill you, but still, I think that's kind of high. And the dividend stats are kind of, I mean, they're fine. Nice dividend growth stats. But I don't know, man. I think I'm biased, but I think SCHD is probably, I'd still be more partial to SCHD. Let's compare the returns though. So let's do that. Total return. We'll leave the S&P in there as well. So let's do actually that. Okay. So RTH is pretty close to the S&P in the last year. Let's go over the last 5 years. It looks like it's outperforming both of them. So the total returns have been pretty good. I will say that. Yeah, across all time periods, the total returns are looking really good. And it does look like the longer the time period, the better the returns get, or the more edge that it has over the other two. So with that said, maybe you could justify a higher expense ratio because the performance is better. So you're paying more for better performance, at least so far. So okay, I'll change my tune a little bit. This seems like a fine fund. Seems like a fine fund. And I would imagine the dividend, just based on the companies it owns or that it holds, I would imagine the dividend's qualified. So you could even put it in the tax. If that's true, you could put it in the taxable if you want. So yeah, Derek says having a garden in my own yard is the dream. I would love to have a garden someday. 100%. Steve's working on a homestead. Yeah, I think that's super cool. Nice, Derek. I turned 22 today. Happy birthday, my friend. I'm honored that you chose to spend your birthday with us. Here's to you. That's what we should have been cheersing to tonight. Really, I was just looking for an excuse to sit my Fresca. But no, seriously, happy birthday. Derek says, I only make $23 per hour and I get laid off 4 months a year. I've been able to max out my Roth IRA each year and grow my work 401k. I really hope I can avoid working like I do now one day. Yeah, I absolutely think you will. I mean, it seems like you're definitely on the right path. And if you just keep at it, it's not a matter of, if you can get out of working like that, it's a matter of when. It's only a matter of time. This is a good question. Any other dividend ETF you would consider as good as SCHD? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other good ETFs out there. I think DGRO is great. I think VIG is great. VU is great. VYM is fine if we're just talking dividend ETF. I even think JEPI and JEPQ are fine. I personally do not invest in covered call ETFs, but I think those two have been fine, and they've been good to investors so far. The reason that I like SCHD though is because I just feel like it's the best balance of everything. You've gotten nice share price appreciation, you've gotten nice total returns. The dividend stats are better than any other dividend ETFs. You get a higher yield in most cases, a higher dividend growth rate as well. And so overall, I think SCHD really gives you a good mix of everything. And that's why I am so hyped on the fund, just because it seems to offer the best of all those things, at least in my opinion. So let's see. Where am I? This is a tough question. I mean, Gerald says, Ryne, I am on Social Security. What dividends should I invest in long term? I'm 63 with grandchildren. So the general rule of thumb is that if you're someone who, needs to live off your dividend income, or if you're in that stage of life where you can pull that income, the general rule of thumb is to maybe go a bit higher yielding in your portfolio. Maybe look for higher yielding stocks just because you need income immediately and you don't have as much time to let dividend growth compound. Excuse me. And dividend growth work its magic. So, with that way of thinking, maybe avoid the Visas that have a less than 1% yield, or the Microsofts, same thing, but have the higher dividend growth rates. Maybe don't look for like Lowe's also that has a low yield. Based on this way of thinking, the general rule of thumb would be to, maybe look at REITs, maybe look at Realty Income with a 5% yield. So you'll get higher. And these are just examples. I'm not trying to give you specific ones to invest in. I'm not trying to do that at all. I'm just trying to give you a sense of direction, really. But yeah, like something like Realty Income with a 5% yield, that's going to give you more income today than some of those other ones that I just mentioned would. But opinion is that my personal opinion is that, yeah, okay, even though you're at a place where you probably would start pulling that income immediately, I still think it's important to have a balance in your portfolio. I still think that I don't think you should go 100% into high yielding stocks and ETFs. And the thing about high yield stocks is once you start going down that road, it's easy to adopt the mindset that the higher the yield, the better. But that's a very dangerous way to think. And if you follow that way of thinking, you'll find yourself invested in yield traps, and that's the opposite of what you want to do. And I'll give you some examples of yield traps. So, or I'll give you a really good example. So let's look at AG&C. This is probably one of the most common yield traps, I would say. And I see a lot of people still bringing this up that they own this. Now, one of the clearest signs, well, before I even get to that, first and foremost, let's look at the dividend yield right here. In the trailing 12 months, 16.7. So you're getting some nice cash flow by investing in AG&C. That's a really nice dividend yield, okay? For every $100 you invest, $16.70 you're getting in dividends per year. Now, here is what you want to look out for. And here is the most obvious sign of a dividend yield trap right here. If you look at the 5-year dividend growth rate and it's negative, this means that they are reducing their dividend on average over the last 5 years. So on average, AG&C has reduced their dividend by 7.4% every year for the last 5 years. Sure, they've got a 16.7% yield, and that's very delicious. That tastes good. But this is not going to be good for you, okay? It might go down smooth, but it's not going to sit well. It's not going to sit well in your stomach. And if we scroll down looking at the stock's dividend history, we can see they've been a notorious dividend cutter over the last 10 years. 2014 until today, the dividend has been almost cut in half. It's gone from 261 per share to 144 per share. So this tells us that the longer you hold this stock actually per share, the less dividend income you're receiving. And like I said, that's the opposite of what you want. There's got to be a balance. So yeah, if you're going to look for higher yielding stocks, look for ones that still have a tendency to not cut their dividend, basically. Even if the dividend's steady and it's not growing that much, that's a bit more acceptable if the stock has a higher yield. But what you don't want to do is invest in stocks that cut their dividends, like AG&C here. That's a big no-no. So another example, a decent high yielder is something like Main Street Capital Corporation. This is a business development company, and one of the qualities that most of these come with is these high yields. So we can see that it has a near 8% yield in the trailing 12 months. And by the way, this also includes special dividends. Every single quarter, Main Street Capital Corporation pays out special dividends in addition to their regular monthly dividend. So this is a very respectable yield, okay? And their dividend growth rate's positive by about 8%, which once again includes special dividends. And if we scroll down looking at the dividend history, we can see that this has actually gone up over time. There was a slight dip here in 2020, but that aside, it's been actually a really solid grower. So not only are you getting a nice high dividend yield, but you're getting some dividend growth as well. Okay, another example, another business development company that's pretty solid is Ares Capital, ARCC. We're getting a higher yield here, 9%, 3-year dividend growth streak. The dividend growth isn't that high, but that's okay. You're still getting a 9% yield. We'll take that. And, very consistent dividend here. It's really not gone down. It's actually gone up over time. So these are the kind that you'd want to look for. If you're going to go the higher yield route, just make sure that you pay close attention to the dividend history. Because that's definitely important, and you don't want to end up with the yield traps. But anyway, Gerald, long story short, I think no matter what, I think it's important to have a balance. This is an approach that I personally take in my portfolio. I have some high yielding stocks. I have some low yielding but high growth stocks, high dividend growth stocks, with high dividend growth CAGRs. And I also have some, steady stalwart companies that kind of are moderate with both of those, a moderate yield, maybe even a low yield, but a moderate dividend growth rate, not the highest, not the lowest, kind of Goldilocks. And those are going to be companies like Procter and Gamble, or what's another one? Johnson & Johnson. These are those steady sleep well at night stocks. So you really don't have to worry about too much. Pepsi could be another one of those. Coca-Cola is a stalwart for sure. So I personally like to have a balance of all of those. And by doing so, at least in my case, how I've set it up, I feel like this gives me a really, a really well-balanced really well-balanced dividend stats. I have a 3.6% yield across my entire portfolio. And I also get a decently high dividend growth rate at 8.8, almost 8.6% here. So I think with both of these over time, not only am I getting a decent amount of income today with this 3.6% yield, and it used to be higher, but I've seen some nice share price appreciation this year. But I'm also getting a nice dividend growth rate with that as well. So that's kind of what I'm shooting for in my portfolio. And I think when in doubt, nothing, you can never go wrong with having a balance and getting the best of all worlds there. So hopefully that makes sense. I thought that was a really good question. Thank you for asking. Oh, here we go. And I just realized we're now behind. We're running late tonight, so we're going a little bit long. There's always a question about yield max. Tim wants to know, what's your thoughts about yield max to boost your monthly income to spread out on your portfolio? I don't like it, Tim, to be honest with you. I do not like the yield max funds. And I just don't like them. I think they're yield traps. I think they're yield traps, and I'm just going to leave it there. You look at TSLY, and I think you look at the dividend history there. That's going to tell you everything you need to know. I don't think they're good. I'm just going to leave it there. And I made a comment right before I answered your question, like, oh, here, someone had to bring it up or something like that. This gets brought up just about every week. I always get questions about yield max. I've made videos on the yield max funds in the past on my channel, which you can go check out. If you just search on YouTube, TSLY, and then my name, you'll see a couple videos pop up, and that'll give you some more in-depth thoughts on the matter. But yeah, every single week we end up talking about yield max. Someone always asks about it, but I'm not a fan of those. So Edwin says, what are your thoughts on factor investing? Truth be told, I have no idea what that is, but I don't know. Let me know. Learn something new. Let's see. Okay, guys, I'm just getting caught up here. I'm also getting caught up here in the chat. What in the world? That's funny, man. What's up, Matt? Hope you're doing good, man. That's funny. I don't know what it means, but it's funny. So yeah, guys, this is I'm now all caught up in the chat, but I think it's a good place to wrap it up. We've gone about 10 minutes over, and let me see. My wife texted me. Yeah, okay. I don't know what it means. No, I'm stuck in the dryer. What's step Ryne? What are you doing, step Ryne? I don't know. Anyway, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. But yeah, this was a fun stream. A lot of good questions tonight. Thank you, guys. You guys came with some good ones, and I appreciate it. But before I wrap up, just a reminder, in case you missed me saying it earlier. I'm just getting distracted. Okay. What was I saying? Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. I need to hide the comments for a second because I'm losing my train of thought. Okay. Before I sign off for the night, just a reminder, guys, I'm not going to be around to stream next week. So we're not going to do our dividend happy hour next Friday. Maybe we'll do it like Saturday or Sunday. I need to play that by ear. But I better safe than sorry. I would count on there not being a dividend happy hour next week. Unfortunately, it really bumps me out to say that. But anyway. Yeah, and if you wouldn't mind doing what Striper Kid says, hit that like button for me one time. I would appreciate it. But yeah, once again, thank you guys all so much. Thank you guys all so much for the support, for all the comments. Like I said, a lot of good questions. And I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and spending this time with me. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, a nice and safe weekend. What else can I tell you? Yeah, I don't know. Hope next week goes good for you guys as well in the market. So Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.